Catching Up on the Drift, Part 7, Dissolving the Oligarchy. It is through jealousy that the usurers sought to demolish the patriarchal and matriarchal cultures of humanity's ancient, and in case of colonised lands, recent history. These have been replaced by an oligarchy which has traditionally operated under the guise of patriarchy. We know the oligarchical patriarchy is a fiction, because there cannot be a father without a mother. The oligarchs killed the true patriarch and crushed the matriarch, which is why Jesus explained that our true Father Spirit is presently in heaven, higher universal consciousness. Universal law allows us to return to our pre-Roman and pre-colonial cultures, to advance them by infusing them with up-to-date knowledge. Universal law requires that humanity lives in accordance with a fair and balanced comprehension of new knowledge. As humanity returns to the universal consciousness, more and more humans will regain their natural powers of intuition, telepathy, astral projection, healing and precognition. At some point, our minds will have evolved to the extent that a cell phone will be perceived as a kind of spiritual baby walker. It is likely also that Earth will openly receive visitors from other planets. The only reason other universal intelligences do not any longer openly engage with humanity, as they did with the Dogon tribes of ancient Sumeria, is because we are as yet too lawless and dangerous. Universal intelligence scattered her chosen peoples throughout every nation, in order they bear testament to the truth of universal love, as they are ordained by life to do. By today, not everyone who calls themselves Jew is one of the universe's chosen people, just as not everyone who calls himself a Muslim or Christian or socialist is truly aligned with Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Nonetheless, the most faithful of Jews and of all religions are highly accredited and appreciated for their faith and strength in upholding the truth of universal love. The truth faithful will have no problems updating their religious beliefs with the light of new knowledge and universal law, just as the pretenders had no problem incorporating lies, usury and crime into their usurped religions. Universal intelligence delights in diversity and welcomes all religions and does not favour one over another, so long as all are serving life compassionately and lawfully. The Shining Ones are of every religion and none. Their faith is truth and knowledge. They are trusted to never intentionally abuse their powers or not to put anyone at risk. They are consulted on all matters of importance to life. They welcome, recognise and confirm or seek out Shining Ones from other nations. The Shining Ones are understood as spiritual doctors of consciousness. They have the natural, intellectual and spiritual skill to most successfully address the psychological and emotional dynamics at the heart of most social and cultural problems. A Shining One who intentionally abuses or exploits their trusted social status is a devil, and it is one such devil who has delivered the light of knowledge in how to twist the truth in order to deceive and exploit humanity. He sits as head of the usurers' Illuminati. By today, however, many of the members of that club are completely unaware that the light they live by is a false lie of thought derived from a maligned intelligence, which does include knowledge, facts and truth, but somehow these are misinterpreted to support a pack of lies, or else they are kept a secret and applied to life with malice. The criminal psychologists will be ever present to lesser and lesser degrees as humanity becomes more vigilant and lawful with each generation. The law is established as a defence and security against crime, and most especially organised crime. Those who are found to be operating as a criminal group of 3 or more will be incarcerated in solitary confinement for a period of 3 months to 5 years, depending on severity of crimes. During that period, the convict will receive remotely delivered psychiatric therapy. In cases where sentence is 1+ years, Never again shall those individuals be permitted to spend time in each other's presence, be they friends or family. This is necessary because organised crime is a very serious threat, and all such criminals need a thorough disconnection from each other in order they lose their pack psychology. Such groups are especially dangerous due to the very fact they have intelligence enough to organise themselves to commit crimes of fraud and theft, blackmail and bribery, etc., yet are too stupid to recognise the value of living lawfully. They are baboon brains in a human body, with access to human technology and society. Murderers will receive no less than 15 years incarceration, unless the murder was not premeditated and/or was partly incited by unusual criminal or cruel actions of the victim, and/or was an act of self-defence, in which case of the latter is not usually a cause for denial of freedom. Criminal groups of 3 or more convicted of procuring and/or harming and/or buying or distributing indecent images of children shall be shot dead via an automated gun, which will fire remotely in a sealed room, triggered by 5 appointed judges, none of whom shall know which of them pushed the deadly button on their keypad, and nor shall they nor anyone witness the point of death. Serial rapists and predatory killers will receive the same. Some will feel that buying or selling and owning images of video, child pornography, is not so serious a crime as actually abusing a child. However, universal intelligence understands that all those individuals are collectively supporting and sustaining they who perform the physical crimes against physical children. It is a severely maligned consciousness that will reward abusers and child killers in order to derive sexual pleasure from the end product of a photo or video. Pack organised child abusers are the most vile among humanity and are likely to cause extremely negative thoughts and emotions within all who have the misfortune to encounter them. There is a risk that the innocent will lose their natural dignity and be persuaded to commit crimes of violence or cruelty against the offenders. In this way, such criminals infect a populace with hate and crime. We need to accept that hatred those criminals inspire is part of their sickness, which seeks to infect life with its crime. Our refuge from hate is found under shelter of our submission to a law we trust and have faith in. Hate is dissolved into a healthy emotion of pity. Child abuser groups may be identified according to their physical and/or cyber connections, as related to evidence of each individual's guilt and their shared criminal interest and common association with one another. Although the death sentence is a grievous decision, it is delivered here out of compassion, from knowing the fact that the truth cannot ever heal or set such people free, because if ever they truly empathised with a child, they could never forgive themselves and in any case would choose suicide. Every effort is made to ensure that suspects are not wrongfully convicted, and in case of murder or gang-related child abuse, convicts are assessed via solitary confinement for a period of 3 years before their execution. It may be that after assessment, some convicts are proven innocent or were framed. In a lawful society, every angle is explored to ensure a suspect is not wrongly prosecuted, or that the convicted are not denied a chance to genuinely improve. Those acting in criminal groups to profit from crime and/or abuse of children are a deadly terrorist threat against human development. It is absolutely understood that such criminal groups, if given an inch, will take a mile, and as soon as they've got that mile, our planet will once more be in the grip of narcissists and psychopaths, who will again set themselves to fulfilling their depraved and egotistical fantasies and devouring life like a cancer. In a society where truth and law are highly valued, false convictions will be rare. It is hoped that the severity of lawful action against convicted child abusers and murderers, coupled with elimination of crime incentives as well as preventative therapy, this will deliver a rapid and sharp decline in serious crimes. Lawful responses to crime are not through a desire to punish, but instead to defend and protect the innocent, as well as treat and heal the criminal toward a point of forgiveness. Regardless of the crime, all convicts and victims are in need of psychotherapy and/or counselling. In this case, jails are more like hospitals, and as with physical illness, the afflicted are required to submit to a period of confinement while they recover from their illness and treatments. The fact remains that some illnesses are terminal. Because most of humanity is presently a victim of an all-pervasive abusive consciousness, until universal law is fully established, there is to be an amnesty which allows present-day criminals guilty of all kinds of crime to confess, receive help, self-develop and identify victims. Those who express remorse, who admit their crimes, even if only to themselves, who try to atone and strive to align with and support universal law, are fully forgiven enough to become a new person. Those who have committed sexual crimes or extreme acts of violence against children, however, are required to admit their crimes to police and to identify their victims, in order they can be compensated and receive therapy. Adult victim survivors of child abuse have a lawful duty to issue a crime report to the police, as indeed every adult has a lawful duty to report any lawful suspicion that a child is at risk. While self-confessed child sexual abusers cannot be left free in human society without careful assessment, along with intensive psychiatric treatment and therapy, their soul is nonetheless cleansed until any time the afflicted repeat their crimes. It is accepted that everyone alive today has been polluted with lies, and many programmed to abuse themselves and others, harbour false judgments and beliefs, jealousy, self-loathing, insecurity, criminal and depraved desires. Everyone, therefore, deserves an equal chance in casting off their former characters. Though when it comes to protecting children, to what extent a child abuser is reborn anew requires professional confirmation. In some cases, the damage is too great to repair, and all we can do is deny freedom to those individuals, most of whom, on becoming enlightened by truth, will know the risks and will not wish to place anyone or themselves at risk. Jesus said we should forgive 70 times 70. However, forgiveness does not include leaving vulnerable innocents, our VIPs, at risk. When it comes to assessing risks against children, the child rights mean that their interests are paramount and their freedom is assured. A free child abuser equates to no freedom for children. Any society where a child cannot freely wander without fear or risk of harm via the adults they meet is not a society, but it is instead a lawless and primitive consciousness operating on a level of intelligence that is lower than the earliest and most primitive life form on Earth, which at least survived on the truth of lawful reality. Under universal law, it is the duty of every nation to be involved in space exploration and keeping a steady astronomical gaze on the skies. Every child on starting school will learn how to count, read and write through learning about our solar system, our galaxy, our planet, and through educational stories about how and why we exist. Life will not be a mystery to future Earth children. Every human will know their God and Goddess. Knowledge of universal intelligence and its law for intelligently conscious biological light-being hosts is shared with all advanced universal intelligences from alien worlds, and indeed it is impossible for any intellectual species to achieve intergalactic space travel without that knowledge. Space travel requires an in-depth comprehension of quantum physics, which is impossible to fully understand without simultaneously being forced to accept the reality of our own eternal quantum light body, known to the ancients as our soul.